So you're reading Matthew? Awesome. Very good. I love reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And they're also called the Gospels. So in these books, you're going to learn about his birth, his life, his death, and his resurrection. So it's good stuff. I hate to call it stuff, but I mean it's good. My favorite out of the 4 books is John. And they call John the Beloved for a reason. Good books.
Chapter you?
We're on chapter 11. And verse 25.
Verse 25.
Verse 25. At that time, Yahusha answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Adonai of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for so it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father. Neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. That's a deep teaching right there. You know, we get things from sermons or from schools. Me and Casey are talking to someone. They're trying to share a book about prophets and this and that. Learn to be a prophet, right? I mean, there's so many men selling books of wisdom, right? You want to be wise, buy my book.
Yeah.
But if you notice here in verse 27, he said, all things are delivered unto me of my Father. So who taught Jesus or Yahusha? His Father taught him. Some things, it says, all things were given to his Son. But I like what he says, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father. So you want to know who the Son is? The Father has to reveal it unto you. And look at this, neither knoweth any man the Father. You want to know the Father? Save the Son. The Son has to reveal the Father to you. So it's like, what? And he whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Look at verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. It's amazing that Casey was playing that song earlier. What was that song called?
Which one?
The one that had the scripture in it? That was a song that you played earlier before.
Lay our burdens at the foot of the cross.
Yeah.
It didn't say that. That's what it meant. Lay our burdens at the foot of the
I
cross.
was like, wow, that's a confirmation song. But he says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. What does that mean?
You got to do something,
If,
right?
if you're struggling and you feel like, man, like one time I was praying and I was telling the Father, how can a man survive? They got to pay rent, bills, cell phone. How can we make? And I was like, well, everyone says just to, pray, don't say a routine prayer, just pray from your heart. So here I am praying from my heart and I'm asking him, how can a man survive? And I've had other Christian brothers, they'll say, Larry, you pawn your guitar? I would never pawn it. And I feel like, well, you've never been where I've been. Where it's either my guitar or the lights are going to be cut off. You don't know what I go through. The water's going to get cut off, or it has been cut off. And I got to sell my tools to get the water turned back on. You haven't been where I've been. Saying they say, oh, I would never. Well, you have not been where I've been. Because I've been where it's bad. I've seen the lights get cut off. I've seen the eviction notices where they tell us to get out of a rent house, right, Casey? I'm just being honest. But did he always make a way? He made a way. So that's, I really believe, the struggle. All ye that are labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Can you imagine that? But but you don't know what I'm going through. He said, I'll give you rest. I'll give you peace to whatever you're going with or going through. Look at my dad. He went through something hard this week. A death of a family member. That's hard, but guess what? He will give us rest through these things. I lost my mother. I lost my brother. He gave me rest. He gave me peace. He gave me shalom through these things. And that's like I was telling the brother earlier. When you try his word, He is faithful and true. If you need something today, He's just telling, try me and see. And when we turn our hearts to Him, as we're going to read, He comes through every time. And like I was saying earlier, me and Casey are not eating T-bone steaks, but we got plenty of rice and beans and peanut butter and jelly. But she just reminded me we ran out of peanut butter and jelly or something like that.
We ran out of rice and beans.
Oh, we ran out of rice, but we do got peanut butter and jelly.
Amen.
So, I mean, hey, we're still eating. So sometimes it's not what you want all the time. It's just what He's going to give you. He's going to give you that. And there is a lot of good times. And if we could look at the good times outweigh the bad times. If you really look at it, He always makes a way. Throughout all our rent houses, right? Yeah. We always had, He had another one, He had another one. And it always seems like, man, I'm struggling. It's okay. People struggle in life. But He makes a way. He always does. And look at this. He says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Now that's something that He would use, yoke. You know, that's what they would do with the oxen. They would put a yoke on an oxen, which is like a piece of wood, and they would put straps on this oxen, and they would till the ground. And I think it was Elijah. They had 12 oxen. Can you imagine? Yoked with 12 oxen yoked together, right? And he's plowing the ground. And here he's saying, take my yoke. Whoa, what is... Take my yoke upon you. That's almost like what people would say, you know, you're in bondage. They have no understanding. It's not bondage. But the yoke, it's not bondage, right?
The scripture, it says not to be unequally with unbelievers.
That's right.
Because you're trying to go one way and they're going the other way, and you ain't going to be able to go straight.
Yoke together.
Mm-hmm.
2 oxen together can do the work of 10 oxen alone together.
So if you see
It's
that,
4 to 3 strands
being-
equally broken.
being yoked is not a bad thing. Neither obeying His commandments is a burden, or what would you say? What did I just say? A burden or a bondage, right? Take my yoke upon you and, learn of me. Let's get back to that in a second. For I am what? Meek and lowly in heart. How many has heard of tares and wheat? They grow right in the ground. Wheat and tares. I seen this thing Casey was showing me on Facebook one time. They almost look identical, right, Casey? But at time of harvest, I believe it's the time of harvest, only one bows down. And guess which one bows down? The wheat. Tares are like this, stubborn, hard-headed, think they know everything. But a real wheat will bow down. And that's what He's saying. Learn of me, right? Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Powerful scriptures. I'm going to tell you a little testimony. I knew this woman that was coming here years ago in the 90s, and she was struggling with keeping up the house, watching the children, financial things. And her daughter gives her the Bible and says, Mom, read this. And here it is. And she reads, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. She began to weep that her daughter would give her such a word. And doesn't the Bible say, out of the mouth of babes? Mm-hmm. And a child shall lead them. Isn't that amazing? Isaiah talks about that, I believe. So we can learn. But look at this. Where it says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. And that's the whole thing. When I first started observing His commandments, I learned of this word called Torah. And to me, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of weird. I'll just be honest. When I heard Torah, I'm like, what is Torah? I had no understanding that actually it was the books in the Bible. and it was actually called Torah. And so when people would say, we would go to some fellowships online and see how people, or Casey was trying to do a women's fellowship, and one of the questions was, how did you come to Torah? And I told Casey, it sounds kind of funny, right? We're coming to Jesus. We're coming to Yahusha. Why are you coming to... And then it just didn't hit me till like recently. He is the Word. So he's... And I was looking at Yahusha as only a New Testament figure. When he says, I am Alpha and I am Omega. I am the beginning and I am the end. I am the Aleph and the Tav. He is all of it. He is the beginning. So I noticed, I said, wow, all I wanted was the Omega. I wanted